Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. And welcome back, everybody. Many of us are suffering from challenges regarding our hair and hair loss. And it doesn't matter how old you are. You could be a child, you could be a senior, you could be having that problem. And we have solutions for that, specifically a solution that is holistic. And she is the woman behind all of that. Hair Loss Center in New Jersey is her business. And I feel we're going to learn a lot, whether you're in New Jersey or not. She's the go-to person anywhere. And she is LaRonne Quarles-Wright joining us here on the program. How are you doing today?
I'm fine, sir. Thanks for asking. Everything's great.
Lots to learn here. And I want to make sure I have your title correct. You're a trichologist?
Yes, certified IAT trichologist.
What does that term mean?
Well, we specialize in hair loss and scalp issues. Basically, we analyze some of the things that are going on with your hair and scalp, and we take an integrative approach, trying to figure out, working backwards, what part of the body and what bodily organ is affecting your hair growth or what's giving you the challenge. So a trichologist, we study hair. That's the root word for trich, and specialist of hair is trichologist.
Wow. Okay. So let's start. You open the door to what's causing the hair loss, and you talked about maybe organs and things like that. And I know that you take a holistic approach. Let's go to some of the common reasons that people are having challenges with their hair.
Oh, wow. When clients come in, I try to let them know, I don't mean to preface it by saying that. Have you seen that movie or heard of the movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once? It just recently, within the last year, I think it won an Academy Award or something. It was called Everything Everywhere All at Once. I try to let my clients know when it comes to hair growth and hair loss, when it's askew and it's off balance or your hair is starting to have a problem, it's everything, everywhere, all at the same time. It's never one thing. With the body being so awesome, it's usually endocrine, it's stress, it's digestive, it's your gut, your gallbladder, it's everything. It's just, as a trichologist, I do my due diligence. That's a lot of questions. We use scanning devices. There are so many things that we use to kind of whittle down to get to the bare bones of what is it, what's causing it. So it's like, it's everything. It's the aspirin you're taking, the medication you're taking, it's the stress, it's what you're eating, it's everything.
And every body is different.
Yeah.
So I could be taking the same meds you are. I could be dealing with the same kind of stress you are. It might affect you in terms of hair. It might not affect me, and the other way around.
Yes, exactly.
It's, as a trichologist, it almost feels to me like you're a CSI investigator.
You could say that. Because we're doing detective work. It really is. You have to listen to the cues. You really have to pick up on all the cues. I am originally trained as a hairstylist. I went to high school as a hairstylist, trained as a hairstylist. So I'm always listening to my clients' cues. What happened last week? Did you go out drinking? Were you sick since the last time I've seen you? Like, I'm always digging, like kind of inadvertently just trying to ask to see what's going on with your hair, because I see things before the client sees them. So I have to kind of do investigative work. I'm always asking my clients questions and what's going on, what are they eating and things like that. Are you on a new medication? All of it helps because I have to kind of dig. I got to dig.
This is an eye-opener. It really is, because I feel that many of us think that it's just one thing. It could be hereditary. It could be, maybe stress, right?
Yes.
Is it often, LaRonne, a combination of a lot of different things, or can be?
Yes. I mean, if I could just speak about a client I had this morning, she came in at 10 o'clock.
Love it.
She had, I wouldn't say a litany of things. She had quite a few things. I took a look at some of the podcasts because I wanted to see what kind of podcasts that you had and the kind of guests you interviewed. And I saw a lot of people who did kind of integrative things, spiritual, mind, body. Yes. They're helping you with trauma and things like that. And one of the first things that I have to address is what's stressing you out, because stress raises cortisol levels. It reduces your immunity, weakens how well you digest your food. So when I talk to my clients, I'm like, what's going on? Well, what is it? You have to talk. And the first step is getting it out. If you don't put it on paper, you at least have to speak it and just talk about it and let me just talk to you so you can kind of get it out. Stress is the biggest one. So my client that came this morning, she's dealing with a lot of stress with her mom, with her job, with a relationship. She had a miscarriage. So, she's channeling all that. She's carrying all that in her organs. That is one of the main reasons why she had hair loss. She also had problems with anemia. She had problems with her menses and irregular blood flow. She had immune system issues because she had, I'm sorry to say, she had herpes simplex 6. So any viral load on your body's system can cause hair loss because your body can't grow hair and take care of your immune system well. It's going to do one or the other. So she also had problems with her digestion and cholesterol. So it was everything, everywhere, all at once. So my client, she must have had about 7 bodily metabolic things that she had to work on. So I had to kind of pull those out, and I had to let her know we have to chip away at all of these, eat that elephant a little at a time, or else you're not going to get the results that you want.
I got you, LaRonne. Like, I totally know what you're talking about. And someone in a little way dealt with that myself even recently. I rarely get sick. It's been years. And I visited a friend and he was coughing. I'm like, dude, what's going on there? He goes, oh, it's an allergy. I come home. Turns out I get sick. I have a fever, 4 days, apparently some kind of virus. It wasn't COVID. And this is to the, your point of immunity and inflammation and such. So, yeah, I got better. Acute laryngitis, not good for me. And that lasted like 2 weeks, like this one virus. But I just happened to take a routine blood test 8 days after I had that fever. And the levels were all crazy to the point where they thought they thought I had a genetic blood condition. And as of 2 days ago, they ruled that out. I'm like, no, you're fine. You don't have that. Because it was all pointing to that. And one thing can set you way off. Everything's great now, but some moments there is like, what is going on with me? And there's other things that presented from this virus. Just one looked like a really bad cold. And to your point of stress, a year ago, I almost went to the hospital because I had digestion issues. What is going on? I knew it was stress related, but I thought it might have been a flare up of an ulcer I had like 7 years ago. Again, stress. Right. I've minimized all that. Everything's fantastic, but stress is, they say it's a killer. It's a slow killer. It's a slow killer, right? Yeah.
Yes. And those, in addition to like everything, the stress will make anything happening with you worse.
Yeah. And
it will intensify everything.
Holistically, in my learning, it gets into the cellular level. So you're dealing with stress and it's like, man, I got digestion issues or hair loss, whatever it is. It's already getting into every blank cell in your body. And that's, throwing things off and everything. So in this woman's situation, 7 different challenges that she has that's leading to hair loss. Can that be remedied, and can you help her hair grow back?
Yes, and it's not that she would have any trouble growing her hair back because it's not something where the white blood cells are attacking her follicles and it would render them incapable of growing hair ever again. It's not like that. It's not like chemotherapy. Sometimes with chemotherapy, your hair falls out. Some clients, their hair never grows back.
Or radiation like that. Or radiation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nothing like that. Nothing that serious. What I was sharing with her is she has to work on her trauma. She has to work on her stress, and then she has to work on all of her metabolic issues. If you don't, it will never increase the because that's what was essentially happening to her hair and scalp were the follicles were just losing density because her body was struggling. It needed more nutrition. She's having trouble with her digestion. The digestion caused problems with the colon absorption. So she had to work on, I had to let her know she has to work on each item. You can't just do one, you have to do them all. So a lot of clients don't want to have to take capsules, pills, and tablets. And I understand, but I let them know the longer you wait to tackle all of them, your body will never really achieve coherence. So it can happen. I can help her increase her density. Not that her hair has to grow back. It's growing, but the diameter of the hair shaft, it minimizes and grows smaller because it's not getting enough nutrition and it's struggling. So it will grow back. But what we're going to be doing with her is helping her increase her density. That's really her challenge. She's not really losing any. It's just growing thinner. Like over time, you can hear women say, I can see through my hair and I can see my scalp. That's what it is.
Wow.
You have to, you got to get to the root of what's causing it.
Oof, interesting. It's almost as if you can do your thing, but the client has to do their thing.
Exactly. I tell everyone that because the first question I get is always clients who don't know me, who haven't followed me, who don't know anything about trichology or how all of this works. The first question they'll have, because, everyone's a bit skittish and I get it. They'll say, well, what's your success rate? And I have to kind of let them know my success rate may not be yours because you have to do the work. It's not really me. I give you the information. Whether you take advantage of it, I have no idea. You have to do the work. I have plenty of success stories, plenty of images, photos on the website, on social media, but you have to do the work.
Wow. Circling back to, let's say, radiation. If you've lost some hair due to radiation, and let's say you had radiation, your face, scalp, whatever, and you lost hair and it hasn't grown back. Why is that? And is there ever a chance that it could grow back?
It can, but when you're thinking of the body holistically, that's EMF, electromagnetic radiation, all those types of frequencies, Wi-Fi, all that stuff. It's a toxin. It's a severe toxin to the body. And depending on what type it was, sometimes it can irreparably change the DNA and how the DNA produces, how cellular regeneration moves from that point forward. And every case is different. Some people, their hair grows back. Some, their hair changes texture. Some, it changes color. Some, it does not grow back at all. So it's never a guarantee. You never know what's going to happen until it happens.
Yeah.
I always let everyone know. They ask me the same thing about chemotherapy. It's a toxin. It's a toxin, bottom line. But we don't know what's going to happen until you go through and see what happens.
Yeah. And I guess it goes back to every body is different. The body, everybody's genetic makeup and all that.
Yes.
This is fascinating, LaRonne. What's your background? What got you into helping people solve their hair challenges?
I've always been a hairstylist. I went to Atlantic County Vocational School here in Mays Landing in Atlantic County in 1985. I got licensed in fall of 1987, got licensed and began styling hair in your college in fall of 88 and used that to pay my way through college, graduated college, got a finance degree, worked in finance for a while, but I find that finance really wasn't my bag because I have to sit still and I'm not a sit still person. I have a lot of boundless energy. I need to keep moving. So I stayed in my creative side and stayed in the beauty industry. Around 2010, I had taken a class, education with a products distributor that I order more of my professional products through. They had a gentleman travel here and he taught a class called Intro to Trichology. I just took the training because I didn't really know what it was. I just knew that the root word was trich and ology means the study of. So I said, well, I'll take it. I don't know what it is because trichology wasn't mentioned, it wasn't studied, it wasn't a thing. I'll just say a thing. It wasn't a thing when I was in high school. Beauty culture now integrates trichology into education, but I didn't know anything about it. So I had taken the class, but when I took the class, it was like a mind-blowing, eye-opening moment because he broke it down for us, letting us know how each body system impacts hair growth. He let us know how the digestive system, the circulatory system, nervous system, the endocrine system, the integumentary system, he let us know how each system impacts and how it's impacted. And it just spoke volumes to me. And I kind of knew from that moment on, that's where I needed to spend my focus and spend my energy. And I was just immediately hooked. And I remember listening to one of your podcasts. I'm sorry, because I went through, listened to a lot of them. and you were talking about, yeah, I did.
Wow.
You were talking about, this was, you were talking about technology and when they're bringing products to market and how you don't have to wait for the product to be perfect. You just put the product out and just work on the kinks after. I'm not sure if you remember that podcast,
Mm-hmm.
but that's how I saw trichology. I said, I'm going to learn everything as it goes. This was too valuable to me to keep to myself and have to bring it out and start using it once I knew everything. You're not going to know everything. Just you have to start doing it. I knew the information was so valuable. As soon as I took that class, I automatically just called myself a trichologist. I wasn't even certified. I just said I'm a trichologist because I just knew I had the thing. And I eventually got certified. And here I am still today. And I eat, sleep, and breathe health and wellness in trichology because I know it's very valuable and it helps a lot of people.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And many of us suffer from imposter syndrome, right? Where we know our stuff, but we get stuck in our head where, well, I'm really not good enough. I gotta keep pushing, maybe further study or whatever it might be. But we're good to go. You just got to get over that. That being overthinking it or also stuck in your head. You have in just, I don't know, not even 15 minutes, really opened my eyes to what is going on here. Seriously, like I had no idea that it was so deeply centered in what our bodies are going through when it comes to hair loss.
Yes.
Is it different for men and then women?
Not really, because we have the same, I don't mean the same DNA. We have very similar genetic makeup. It's just for the simple fact your anatomy is different. We both have estrogen and testosterone. You have higher levels of testosterone, have higher levels of estrogen. You still have estrogen, you just have less of it. And I have testosterone, I have less of it. So it's not that men and women are different. It's how you apply the information, how you apply DHT and the male pattern baldness. Females have it too. It's just your levels are just going to be slightly off. But when I interpret things like sex hormonal binding globulin and your testosterone levels and things like that, when I see them off, I already know that's the culprit. Weight, your weight and everything that coincides with that. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, we're going to suffer the same ills because we have the same issues you have. Men get the same types of alopecia women get. It's not really that much different. Just the hormones are kind of the thing that, delineates us from each other. But it's not really that much different.
I would have to imagine a major starting point when you work with somebody is labs. They got to get labs done.
Yeah. Yes. It's extremely helpful.
Okay. And how does that work? Is that you go to your primary and say, I went to a trichologist, or are you able to issue the script for that?
I have an NPI number, so I am able to issue a script and clients they can take it to the area lab core or anything like that. I can. Not many of us do it. Some of us we process what our clients give us, but we are able, if a client has the wherewithal and the budget to be able to get their own panel pulled, we can issue labs. We can. Not everyone will do it, but I can if someone cannot bring me labs quickly enough, or if their physician won't approve it. If you can pay for it, I can write out a script for you. They just have to process it, and that's it.
So I'm thinking. That being said, you don't accept insurance. Am I right?
No, because in the U.S., trichologists are not really seen as medical professionals, and we're not. But in other areas like the U.K., France, Germany, we are held to a different standard. In other countries, they're seen as more professional, like doctors. Here in the U.S., we are not. But we have a lot of government red tape and things that we would have to go through, which I don't foresee, but we cannot do that here.
I'm waiting for a phone call from the insurance company right now. I get what you're saying. Not even kidding.
Yeah.
It's water system. But anyway, which makes perfect sense why if you write the script, it's not sanctioned from the insurance company. You can write it. Right. You can walk in. If you private pay, you've got your labs. You're all good to go. Got it. Okay.
Right.
Wow. Can you LaRonne, give an example of an extreme case where somebody was here, lost a lot of hair, figured things out, got things back on track, and then bam, over a period of time, hair was back and looked amazing.
I had a young lady, this was early in my career, and I had just become certified. When I say to fellow stylists or any kind of industry professionals who want to venture into trichology, I let them know after you've taken your correspondence course and you've gotten your certification, it's lifelong learning. You will never stop learning. I'm constantly on PubMed and NIH. I'm always researching because one thing will spark and I'll see something else that I need to keep reading about. So I say all that to say you never stop learning. This case that came in, young lady had a severely hepatic liver. It was so swollen, and it landed her in the hospital. And, the liver helps to detoxify the blood, helps, make cholesterol, things like that. So the liver is very, very important, especially with balancing blood sugar. So many things. There's over 300 things that the liver does. Her liver was severely thickened. It was inflamed and fatty, landed her in the hospital. She almost passed. So when I met her, she only had about 40% of her hair. She was in the hospital maybe 2 months. And when she came out, she had 40% of her hair.
Wow.
So I had to do deep dive. I had to go into, what are the functions of the liver and what can I do to help and what can I give her that, with like silymarin and dandelion root and things like that. What can I do to help her cleanse the liver, support her liver? So I had to do deep dive. I had to really go in and find out what is the function of the liver. How can we support the liver? How do we help her cleanse her body? Like she had to do quite a bit and she needed excess nutrients in her body because she was just severely weakened. All of the anesthesia, all of the drugs they gave her weakened her digestion. She had to get probiotics. There was so much that we had to do. She did them all, and it was very costly because I would say it's visiting us. It's a premium level service. Like none of this is covered by insurance. She had a lot of work to do, but with women, we value our anatomy and we value our hair, and we're going to pay a pretty penny when it comes to our hair. She did a lot of change, a lot of cleansing, supporting the body. Her hair came back. It took about 6 months before she got a couple inches, but it all came back. But it takes a lot of work, a lot of work.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what's important to you, but I get it. Your hair is also your youth. There's a lot going on there. LaRonne, I could keep going. I had so many questions. I find this truly fascinating. And especially since, I'm getting deeper into holistics and understanding that, you go to the doctor, you get, pills. That's the symptoms, not the root. You're dealing with the root.
Yes.
And whether you know it or not, you're making people healthy again by using their hair, by using hair as the, that made the catalyst to get them in there to realize what's going on in their lives. How do we find you? If somebody has questions, and where are you located in New Jersey?
We're located in Pleasantville, New Jersey. It's about 10 minutes from Atlantic City, but our website is hairlosscenternj.com. You can always just give us a call, 609-710-8102.
Amazing talking with you, and I truly mean that. What an eye-opener. And I kind of knew that hair loss can be connected to environmental stuff you're dealing with and everything, but not to this deep level. Wow. Mm-hmm. Lots more to talk about next time we get together, and looking forward. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you. We'll be right back. Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. until one day I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.